All right, Jesse on fire. Welcome back to the channel. I love when Khabib is fighting, man. I love when Khabib's fighting. I love when Conor's fighting because it just gives you so much to talk about. You know, because then they're constantly in the media and they're constantly talking. And you got a Conor McGregor fight that's getting booked, and you got Khabib fighting this weekend. It's great, man. You get to hear all this stuff, and it builds the narrative around their inevitable future fight, it looks like. So I actually was buying into the idea that Khabib really wouldn't fight Conor again. Like, you know, because he's good at that, man. I think it's great now that I think about it. Now that you actually are watching it, like, it's clear he's trying to break Conor's, he's trying to break Conor's balls, because he has control. He knows he's in the driver's seat. He doesn't have to fight Conor. He could theoretically just never fight Conor again. He could let's say he beats Justin Gaethje, right? So he beats Justin Gaethje and then he goes, no, I'm not going to fight Conor. He's like, I've already beat Conor, Congratulations, Conor. You beat Dustin Poirier and Cowboy, okay? I destroyed Dustin Poirier. Do you think I wouldn't destroy Cowboy? So you beating my leftovers, Cowboy's never even gotten the chance to fight me because he can't string together enough fights in a row. So you beating those guys, what does that have to do with anything? I already fought you. This has been decided. I crushed you. You know it. I know it. The worst thing that Khabib could do to him is just not even give him the opportunity to rematch. Honestly, I actually think that would be worse in the long term psychologically if he just never gave him the opportunity. Like, if he gives him the opportunity and then he beats him again, I actually think that's less hard on the psyche as just never letting him have another opportunity. Like one of those is like athletic superiority. The other one is like psychological torture. I mean, the way I look at it is like, if Conor really believes that he could beat Khabib and then he was never given the opportunity to prove it, for a person who's psychological, like, I realize I'm kind of a mastermind with this stuff, but for a person like Conor, the bigger torture is not knowing that he couldn't beat him. It's thinking he could beat him and not getting the opportunity to prove it. Honestly, especially if he thinks he deserves it. And Khabib's just like, nah, I'm not going to fight him. I already crushed him. I already crushed Conor. We did this. He had plenty of time to prepare. It wasn't even a close fight. Let me actually speak on that real quick. So we're going to get into two things, actually. First of all, let me talk about this first. So Khabib said that if Dustin Poirier and Conor McGregor fight, for it to count towards a rematch, it needs to be at 155. And I totally agree with that. As a matter of fact, I like that he did that a lot. Because to allow Conor, to go in there and fight at 170 and then that count towards 155, like, dude, you have to cut 15 pounds. Okay, like, if you're a person that hovers around 170, like, having to cut 15 pounds of weight off your body, 48 hours before you fight, you think that's not going to affect your performance? Or if you're Dustin Poirier, you probably walk around at like 180, 175, 180. I mean, come on, dude. Like, of course, that's going to make a huge difference in how you fight. So if they fight at 170, it actually is not a testament to their skill set or their ability to perform at 155. Now, in the case of Conor and Dustin, obviously everyone knows they can perform at 155. But just because they decide together, we're just going to fight at 170, that doesn't mean that the outcome would be the same if they fought at 155. So if they want to collectively be lazy, and they don't want, listen, I'm not calling them lazy, but I just mean in terms of, that is the lazy way to do it. They're like, dude, I don't want to cut weight. You don't want to cut weight, right? So let's just do this at 170 and it'll count for 155. I mean, that is a shortcut. If they want to try to take the shortcut when it comes to a title shot, no. Khabib's like, okay, so then when we fight for the 155-pound belt, are we going to fight at 170? Like, I don't have to cut that last 15 pounds, but we'll just put the belt on the line? It doesn't even make any sense. Like, of course, they need to, if it's a number one contender fight, they need to cut the weight. And candidly, it is a number one contender fight. And I'll tell you exactly why. Because if Justin Gaethje beats Khabib and Dustin Poirier beats Conor, that's the next title shot. Because Justin Gaethje lost to Dustin Poirier. So if Dustin Poirier beats Conor, Dustin Poirier beats Conor, Justin Gaethje beats Khabib, without a doubt, that's the next fight. Without a doubt. And then, Khabib, and then Khabib will fight Tony Ferguson. Okay? If he comes off a loss against Justin Gaethje, I actually don't think it'll be an immediate rematch if Conor wins. Geez, that would throw a whole, wow. I have no idea what would happen then. If Justin Gaethje wins and Conor wins, then it's 50-50 who gets the next shot, because Conor's he's gonna angle for it. It also depends on how Justin Gaethje won. I mean, if he won by first round knockout or something, and people are like, whoa, or he battered Khabib like he did to Tony Ferguson, which seems not super likely. But I'm just saying, if the method of victory was decisive, then Conor, decisively beats Dustin Poirier, then I think Conor fights Justin Gaethje. I think if it's a close decision where it's 49-48 Gaethje, then Khabib probably gets an immediate rematch, regardless of the outcome. But if Dustin Poirier wins and Justin Gaethje wins for any reason, I bet you that Gaethje is going to push for that fight. He's going to really push for that fight because that's a loss he wants to get back. And Alvarez is out of the organization, so the only top contender in the organization that's beat Gaethje is Dustin Poirier, and I guarantee he's going to want that fight back. But good God, if he becomes the champion and then gets to fight Conor, he'll literally make $30 million for that fight. I mean, he'll make so much money. He'll make so much money. His family having to work in the copper mine, those days are over after that. I don't even think, I just bet, you guys, I don't think people really understand how the impact it has when you're a champion and then you get a big pay-per-view, and you get a big contender like that and you get paid, like Kamaru Usman, after the Colby Covington fight and the George Masvidal fight, okay? I know you guys think that these guys make great money because you hear they make $600K, they made there was a main event on Ultimate Fight, Fight Night, and they made $650,000, and you're like, damn, that's a lot of money. Do you understand the difference between a person making $650,000 and a person making $20 million? It is absolutely life-altering, okay? Or even $10 million. So $650K, just to put this in perspective, you pay $65K to your trainer, $50K to your agent, whatever. Bottom line is you got just call it, you're down to $500K easy before you're even getting taxed. Okay. So let's say that you live in a place with nice state taxes. You end up taking home $350,000. Okay. That's not that. I mean, it's good, but then you go buy a house, right? So you put $150,000 down. So you have $200,000 left. Okay. You don't have monthly income like a person with a job, right? So you don't fight for 6 months. You're spending, you think you have a lot of money, so you're spending 10 grand a month. So that's another $60K off the top. So now you're looking in the bank and you're like, damn, I only have $140,000 left. If I don't fight, I have 1 year of money left. And then I'm bankrupt, right? Okay, now if you make $10 million, okay, and then you pay your people, you pay your taxes, and you end up with $6 million in the bank, okay, if you just invest that $6 million, okay, just invest the $6 million, you can make $200,000 a year through $200,000 or $300,000 a year just on the interest that you'll earn on that investment. So you can actually sit back and never work again and just spend the money that you make on your money forever. Okay, that's on one fight. Okay, that's on one fight. Kamaru Usman with George Masvidal. If he's smart, he's done. He can retire. He never has to fight ever again if he doesn't want to, right? So Justin Gaethje right now, he's probably never made more than $600K for a fight. I mean, he's going to make a lot more for this fight because now he has a belt, he has an interim title, he's going to fight against Khabib. So now he's going to make a lot of money. I mean, he's going to make millions of dollars for this weekend. But a Conor fight where I actually don't know how it works with the interim championship. I'm pretty sure that he gets paid just like the champion. I'm pretty sure. Although Khabib, I'm sure, has a special deal. But bottom line is he'll make multiple millions of dollars for this fight. But a Conor fight, especially if he's a champion and he can kind of grind the gears. He just beat Khabib, and then Ali Abdelaziz gets a hold of Dana. He's like, look, man, you're going to have to give him a special deal. Boom, he's getting special back end. He's going to make $20 million for this Conor fight. Boom, right? He makes 20. He walks with 11 or 12, okay? You put $12 million in the bank, and you're Justin Gaethje. He's going to have more money to live on per year for the rest of his life than he's ever had before without ever working ever again, and it'll never touch the principal. He'll still have, $10, $12 million in the bank 20 years from now, having spent $500,000 a year, okay? So, the impact of being like a Colby Covington versus being a champion who's getting back end on pay-per-views is night and day, right? And that also will explain to you why you see Tyron Woodley all of a sudden go to sleep in his career. He defended his title 4 times, right? He has that. I guarantee you, he might look like a flashy guy. He's not a flashy guy. I will bet you money that he's actually really frugal. He probably has a nice car, half decent house, and actually saves all of his money. That would be my read on Tyron Woodley. Okay. So Tyron Woodley never needs to work ever again. Okay. What motivation does he have to go in there and bang? Right? What motivation does he have? So like, that's the thing. You look at these guys, the ones who can continually win after getting rich, where they don't have to work ever again. Those are the guys that you're like, damn, right? But anyway, I got lost on that. Okay, so that's 155. Okay, so here's the other thing I want to talk about. Conor McGregor. This is so ludicrous, man. He tweeted to a guy that he thinks he was winning the Khabib fight before Khabib won. Okay, he's serious. He was serious. He said that. What the? Siri thinks I'm talking to her, but I'm not. He said that he thinks he won the first round. No, you didn't. He said that the second round, he completely minimized the second round like it was like no big deal. I'm like, dude, he crushed your head in the second round. He says he won the third round, which he did, but nothing crazy. And then the fourth round, Khabib smashed him and then submitted him. Okay, so you lost 3 of 4 rounds, including the one where he finished you. Okay, like you were not winning that fight. I'm incapable of rooting against Conor. Okay, when he's fighting, but when he talks on Twitter. Listen, I'm just going to give you just a heads up analysis. You weren't winning that fight, my dude. Like, you can tell yourself that you were winning, but there's literally not a single observer in the entire world who had you winning going into when you got submitted. Literally no one. Like not a single objective, not even dude, guys that had your face tattooed on their body had you losing going into when you got submitted. Okay? There's no one who agrees with you. No one. Because objectively, it's just inaccurate. Now, like I said, I'll always root for you. But if we're going to talk about past things, I can't just not be objective. You were losing that fight, my dude. There's just no two ways about it. So that tweet, ludicrous. Take it down. So anyway, that's what I've got. But again, let me actually just real quick, let me run through this again. The 155-pound thing, that's just like crazy to think about because there's so many ways that this could go. Like with Dustin Poirier fighting Conor and Justin Gaethje fighting Khabib, the number of ways that could be kind of the next step are crazy. You think about like most weight classes, and it's like, okay, so, Wei Li, she's probably going to fight Rose next, right? Like Valentina, she's already cleared out the strawweight division. Amanda Nunes, she's already cleared it out, but she'll fight someone, I guess. Then you go to the dudes, and, bantamweight is a little bit whatever. Figueiredo's the only star at 125, 45. Maybe Brian Ortega is a good look, like that's... but there's like not a lot of like interesting ways that the thing could shake out in any of those weight classes. 170, it's like, like George Masvidal, if he fights Colby and he wins, then, and Gilbert Burns and Kamaru, there's something there. And then you got comes out. Actually, there's some interesting stuff at 170. 185, Israel Adesanya, maybe he should just leave the division. Maybe Thiago Silva comes down to 185, but there's not a whole lot there. 205, there's nothing. Heavyweight, everybody knows. But like 155, it's crazy to think about. It's like if Gaethje beats Khabib, okay? So let's say Khabib beats Gaethje. You could end up with a Conor McGregor fight, a Tony Ferguson fight, or a Dustin Poirier fight. Probably not Dustin Poirier, most likely, but you could either Tony Ferguson or Conor McGregor, right? Either of those matchups are very exciting, and maybe even a GSP, right? If Gaethje wins, you could have a Dustin Poirier, a Conor McGregor, or a Khabib rematch. Okay, any of those 3 are bananas fights, right? Bananas. And if that happens, then Khabib could fight Tony Ferguson, or Conor could fight Tony Ferguson. It's just, I really can't see a scenario where Conor loses to Dustin Poirier. I really can't. Like in terms of matchups, that's just a very, very good one for Conor. But anyway, it's very exciting. That's what I got. Subscribe to the channel. Ring the